Hi friends, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ryan Abear, and this is where I share my insights. And today I'm talking about the difference between platitudes and beatitudes. Platitudes are empty statements like, you'll get them next time, or it's always working out. And beatitudes are very different. It means supreme blessedness. And if we're not careful, it might seem that some people have it and some people don't. But I'm not sure about that. Stick around and I'll explain. A platitude is an empty statement that doesn't seem to carry much consolation. It doesn't seem to carry much fulfillment. It doesn't seem to carry much profundity or wisdom. And a platitude is basically feedback. It's an evaluation, a response from the so-called outside world. And there's tons of examples of platitudes that don't necessarily exist in language. Because language is a symbol. Language is a symbol or a translation of an inner energy. So we feel these things and like vomit, we speak. So what we're doing is we're hearing energy, a very complex internal condition, being symbolized in sounds made by the mouth. So a human being is constantly spouting off an energy. And when you listen carefully to people speak, you can hear whether or not they speak in platitudes, which will come across as a bunch of noise, or if they speak beatitudes from a place of more depth and profundity. If someone is speaking with a supreme blessedness, you can't help but pay attention to them. They have a way of commanding the room. You might want to say you have an aura about you that is deep, and you don't have to say much. From that depth of supreme blessedness, which is just a way of taking your time, feeling very calm and relaxed, the attention latches on to that blessedness, and you become more effective. And you hear more of the truth in language. The totality of truth cannot be spoken because it's not conceptual. And reality cannot be described because reality is much more than just words and thoughts and concepts. But this is what we must use to teach non-conceptual living. Reality, we must use concepts and words to get you there. But I'm always trying to speak from that place of the Beatitudes, blessedness. Other ways that we seek feedback or additives is through likes, subscribers, notifications, friend requests, how many times a video was watched. I once had a student who was elated. And I asked her, why are you in such a good mood? She said, one of my TikToks went viral. And then that sort of goes away. And you lose your elation. That's because platitudes are like junk food and alcohol and any kind of addictive behavior. They don't satisfy. Compulsive behaviors do not fulfill. What fulfills is a connection to the intrinsic joy, the Beatitudes, the blessedness. Giving yourself what you truly want, which is putting yourself first, in the best sense of that word. So the markers of the Beatitudes, or that getting in touch with that blessedness, are not perceived outwardly. For example, I just cleaned out an office I had in a former job, and I threw away all sorts of plaques and awards and recognitions. I nearly threw away my diplomas. I have 4 diplomas, and they're just pieces of paper. That's a platitude. Money is a platitude, believe it or not. Somebody gives you money, it's a symbol for an energy in them. They love you. They are showing their affection, but you can't receive the affection in the money. It's an emptiness. But we keep striving for that. We like the pat on the back. It's nice. Those are perks and benefits and goodies. But imagine eating chocolate for breakfast. And then 2 hours later have cookies. And then for lunch have a big piece of cake with lots of buttercream frosting. If you keep eating that when you're truly hungry, you will continue to starve yourself, and you'll always be in a position of lack and emptiness, looking for validation, looking for handshakes, likes, all that stuff. And the same is true for the person who's a victim. They're starving for attention. That's what it is. We mistaken the outside for the cause of our state of being. But if the outside cannot feed me, the outside cannot hurt me. I'll say that again. If the outside cannot feed me, the outside cannot hurt me. And there is this sensation that will open in you that no one can get under your skin. That's because nobody's under the skin. There's nobody in the body. I've said it before, and I truly believe that if you think that you are a center of the universe with a boundary, you're fooling yourself, because that identity is wrapped up in platitudes. It's like going to a cocktail party and you ask somebody about themselves and they give you their resume. See, the words can't tell us the truth about who we are. What I am pointing to is the Beatitudes, but that also is conceptual to lots of people. It's very much like the word God. The word God means something to somebody, usually related to a person. And actually, I would say God is a person. But not a person only. But all persons, all things, all awareness. So we must understand supreme blessedness. The word supreme can't be comprehended either, because it has no top. And if you go up the chain of command, you lose yourself, in the same way that if you go down the chain of command, the so-called command, you never find a bottom. There is no highest of the high, and there's no lowest of the low. You lose yourself. It's like feeling lonely, for example. You can't shake this sense of otherness. You can always talk to yourself. But this talking to yourself would imply there's a self-talking and a self-listening. And those two selves are one. And yet I know that. So if I keep backing up, I know that I am talking to myself. It feels like nesting dolls. As you get into that statement, it sounds like nesting dolls upon each other. I know that I know that I am talking to myself. I have I, and myself. And that gets blurry. What is this knowing? I talk to the object, myself. How can I be the object and the subject? I know that I am talking to myself. Who is this myself that's the object that is receiving these words? See, something has to disappear in the nesting dolls. The central figure. I is everywhere. I am. That's about it. That's the best that words can do. And that realization of how simple existence is. I am. Somehow is the eureka moment. Where you understand supreme blessedness and you can try to teach it, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to point to and demonstrate this every time I make a video. I'm practicing the Beatitudes in every one of my videos. And of course, those of you who are familiar with the teachings of Jesus will know that the Beatitudes were part of his most famous sermon. It's called the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And what he was explaining was this inner realm of energy that we are. And people are poor in spirit. They're lacking in a certain aliveness. They haven't connected to the blessedness of being. And you'll know it. You'll know when you're in the presence of people who have connected to this. And everybody has access to it. Actually, you're connected now. There's no disconnection from it. The illusion of disconnection is a story into the future which no one has ever been to. It is just a complete settling and a ease in the now. That's always there. It allows you to relax into it. And as you sort of relax into it, you realize there's no central figure experiencing life. And that's why people can't get enough. You see, I can't give you enough pats on the back to make you feel whole and fulfilled and calm and desireless. I can't bring you to that zone of oneness where time stands still. Hopefully you experience that by watching my videos. That's what I hope, is that you connect to that being in the zone. And you want to live that way, completely resting in the present moment. Which defies description, because it's already gone by the time those words pop out of my mouth. Yes, I can tell you, you are supremely blessed. It's that you are misperceiving the cause of your suffering as being the situation. When you're all of it is arising. You're just noticing it. It's arising at the same time. Your negative emotion, the situation, and it's confusing. Where is it all coming from? It is coming from this bottomless emptiness from which all things come. The great I am. And the more we get in touch with it, the more we sit in the silence and contemplate it, the more peace we give ourselves. The more clear our message becomes. And the more impact and effect we have. So no more searching for platitudes. And there's no searching for the Beatitudes either. There's no more searching, because there's no seeker there's no seeker. There's no seeking. It's a connection now that is not broken. It's an absolute, just imagine the inner body just going. And there you are. And behind that is this wonderful aliveness. It's protective. And the mind goes, my name is Ryan Hebert. I hope you enjoyed this little insight on platitudes and beatitudes. And if you did, please check out my blog. You'll read a lot about these same principles in my writing. mymorningmotivator.com, and we'll see you next time.